Welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast, the podcast that gives you immediate actions you can take to start seeing life-shifting results now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast. This is Mark Cardone.
And Theron fight.
When is the last time that you needed a vacation?
Yeah, that's a
And,
great
and
question.
you
Yeah.
know, and this comes up, it's funny. So this weekend I was doing some stuff around the house and I was getting texts from, people who needed to see property and all
Yeah.
this, the normal weekend. Like it's a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of stuff, and then work kind of interjecting itself. And at the same time, one of my agents was going through the same thing. And she was getting frustrated because she was like, this is my weekend off. I have all this stuff to do. I don't have time for all this.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, like, this is great. Like
Yep.
I'm glad to have all this stuff to do. And I started to think, like, how cool is it that I'm living a life I don't need a vacation from? And
Right.
we all don't get me wrong, we all get frustrated. We all
Sure.
have times when we're like overwhelmed and just exhausted with it all. But wouldn't it be cool if everybody in general could just live that life where as stuff comes in, you're just like, I love this. This is what I'm here for.
Well, I think a litmus test is if you dread Monday mornings, you need to make a change
Yeah.
because you can tough it out and you can, suck it up for a while, but 10 years, 20 years, 30 years goes by. I don't know. I just think there's a better way. There's definitely a better way. And here I am sitting in where I love to be and but I designed that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of choices early on in my life as a teenager, and a lot of good choices and choices that would have made more sense to most people around me. But luckily, I had a couple great mentors, and I had parents that even though they were like, oh, I'm not sure about this, they still supported me. So that part I was lucky with. But I definitely, and because you were with me way back then. I mean, what I did and a couple of us other guys did it wasn't something people did.
Yeah.
Who's gonna run a martial arts dojo? No, you gotta go to college. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. So I think you need to really. This is gonna go through. We're gonna have our three steps as usual, um, but you can make it better. And you're
Yeah.
the one that's gonna do it.
And I love this because, in this podcast, we're going to show people, three steps to, really make progress on building that life you don't need a break from, right now. Quick progress, quick wins,
Yeah.
but things you can also build over time, so, not only in a week are you going to feel better, but in 6 months, you're going to look back and say, man, I'm not tired at the end. I'm not exhausted at the end of the
Yeah.
day anymore. I'm not frustrated. And I think so much of this, before we get into the steps, it's I call this the popularity of misery. um,
Yeah. Hmm.
like just the hatred of Monday, the hatred of your job, the hate of school, the feeling that it's popular. It's popular culture to be
Right.
exhausted at the end of the day
Yeah. Yep.
because of
Yep.
the kids and because of and I think one of the first things before we even get into the steps is you have to get over that a little bit. You have to understand, like what you said, what you did was kind of weird,
Yeah.
and
Oh, for
not,
sure.
and I don't know if weird's the right word, but to live a life that you enjoy, part of that is walking away from that culture where people are like, oh, look how terrible today is. And you say, it's not that bad. Like today's not that
Yeah.
bad. It's a pretty good day.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I think breaking through that is important.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said before, it's not like you have every day's a great day, but the day itself overall couldn't be a great day, but
Yeah.
it's more of moments of the day gets hard and stressful and things happen and but I can't recall that I ever had a horrible day the whole day. I don't ever recall that. Have I had bad hours and everything? Yeah, for sure. And we talked about this. You have a death in your family, but even and I just had one a couple months ago. My father passed. Even though that was a horrible time, the other part of that day was getting together with my sisters and the family and talking about old times, and that was great. I mean, that would have never happened without something bad happen. So I think you have to really step back and say, how do I make this moment better? And if something's going bad, excuse me, it doesn't mean it's going to go bad for the whole day, the whole week. And I love what you said, the misery. What did you call it?
The
You coined it.
popularity of misery.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge trap that people get into, and they get around people that act like that, and then that reinforces their behavior,
Yeah.
and I think we need to rise above that for sure.
If you really want to tick people off when they had a bad day, just respond with the question, all the minutes or all the minutes bad?
Right,
Because
that's a great one. Yeah.
that'll already point them
Yep.
in the right direction.
For
Let's get
sure.
into our action steps because I think this is a
Okay.
really important podcast. I know people listening to this right now, who are always exhausted at the end of the day, at the end of the week, and I think this is going to put them right in the right place. So, starting with action step number one, and we're talking about aligning your daily life with your core identity. you
Right.
know, and it's really, looking at the gap, right, and auditing that gap between who you are and how you spend your time.
Right.
And I think that's so important because when we talk about authenticity, right, authenticity is a big word right now. And it's really about not only being yourself, but also putting into action because, it's not who we say we are what we do, right?
Hmm.
Um, but looking at those top three personal values that you have, whatever those things are, maybe it's one, maybe it's two, maybe it's three, and then just looking at a week and saying, how much time am I actually putting into these things?
Right.
Are
Right.
my actions in line with what my identity says I am?
Now, the next part of this is with aligning your daily actions is eliminating or renegotiating things that drain you. So we all have things that we have to do, and sometimes maybe we have to do it for a certain amount of time, and we know that. Let's say it's something you don't like to do, but it's only going to be in the next 2 weeks. Suck it up. You're fine. But let's say it's something that now, what started with 2 weeks, now it's been months, and it seems like it's never going to end. Okay, what is it that you can do? Maybe you can eliminate it, and maybe it doesn't need to be done anymore, or you can delegate it, or renegotiate what you're doing. But and that doesn't mean that you get rid of everything and you just lay around. That's not what we're talking about. But there's certain things that each of us don't like doing. And if you have a spouse, hopefully those things are opposite. So what she likes or he likes, you don't, and you're fine doing it. Like I don't mind doing the dishes. My wife doesn't like doing the dishes. Now she does them, but I do 90% of them because it doesn't bother me at all, so that works very well. Now I know that's a simple thing and that's probably not a big thing in your life, but it's nice to have a clean kitchen,
Yeah.
and so it's aligning different things and trying to renegotiate what you can.
And I like what you said because it's really, there are things we're doing that are draining us that we just don't have to do,
Right.
that we can just take out. But then there's those things in the middle, and I always like it's those things that we do, like they need to get done, and maybe they're not our favorite thing to do. And yes, we can delegate those, but also I think there's a little bit of that, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. The
There's
garbage
a
has to
song
go out.
like that.
There is a song like that. Like the garbage has to go out. You can learn to, moonwalk the trash cans to the end of the driveway while you're
Right.
listening to Michael Jackson on your headphones.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of, when you're eliminating the things that drain you, sometimes it's just eliminating that mindset that causes the things to drain you.
Hmm.
That it's that get to do versus have to do. That language
Right.
is such a huge shift.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
and then the third part of this is really about protecting that one non-negotiable that fuels you. So forget what
Hmm.
drains you, but what is that thing? Is it that, walking your dog every day?
Right.
Is it that, sitting out and just kind of relaxing? Is it that cup of coffee? What is that one thing? Is it a workout that's just going to completely motivate and inspire you? But protecting that one thing, that needs to be in your day or in your week, and
Hmm.
making sure that that is a priority.
Right. Yep. So good. All right. Step two, this is talking about designing your environment for your energy. So we all have natural energies. Some people are morning people, some people are night people, and so designing that. So it's important. So the first part, the sub action step to this is structuring your day around that natural energy peak. So for me, I'm a morning person, so I'm doing my writing, my creativity, and you get the class plans typically in the morning from me because I've started working on them at 6 a.m. and emails, different things like that. So that's if I try to do it at the end of the night, it wouldn't work out too well. If I try to do it even in the middle of the day. So my day is structured around my natural energy and the things that are most important. So think with you, what day, and hopefully you have that, and you've established that these are the days or these are the times of the days that I feel the best at. Don't waste those times, because you can get a lot done when your energy's high, and you can rest.
Yeah.
Then you can have more time to rest because you're not just extending it out, and it takes 3 or 4 times longer because the energy isn't there.
Yeah. I love this one because it's, my wife and I are, like you said in the last step, sometimes you can be opposites, in
Yeah,
certain factors. And this is, I love getting up in the morning. I love
right.
getting a crank on it. But, at the end of the day, like I put in, 12 hours. I'm ready to just
Yeah,
not, like it's not my peak
yeah.
time. And I go and I fluctuate throughout the day. Her peak time is 2 a.m., 1 a.m.
Oh, geez.
Like, literally I'll wake up and come downstairs to get a glass of water and she's on her laptop just crushing work. And I go, that's exactly, she knows when she works
Hmm.
best and she does it. So that's really cool is understanding what your natural peaks are. And you could have more, I have multiple peaks throughout the day and multiple lulls throughout the day, so I think knowing yourself is a big part of this. And then,
Before you move on, I got a
yeah,
quick little personal story
yeah,
that you just reminded me when you said that about Joyce is um, you're working to get my daughter a house, right?
yep,
And so she just said like a few weeks ago, "Oh yeah, I got a email from Joyce, and it was like 1:30 in the morning
yeah,
about this house thing." I'm like, "Oh, maybe she was just up." Well, now that you say that, no, that's what she that's what she does. She works it. That's
yeah,
awesome. Good for
yeah,
her. So I'm just saying that's like proof. You're not just BSing all of us here.
right,
That
yeah.
that's true.
I hear the click of the keyboard while I'm sleeping. I dream about it. Um, and then I think another part of this is really replacing your recovery time with recovery habits. So
Right.
instead of making it your habit like everybody else to get home at the end of the day, turn on Netflix and kind
Hmm.
of go limp on the couch and just flop, right? It's about building those little recovery things you can do throughout the day. Those walks, breathing, just those kind of mental breaks. Building those habits
Hmm.
into your schedule will help you so that at the end of the day, you don't need a 3 hour just complete dead time before you go to sleep.
All right. I love it. Now, action step 3. Now, this one is right out of the martial arts. This is right out of our teaching, and it's pursuing progress, not perfection. And the sub part of this is finding the meaning in the grind. Now, this is important because sometimes you just have to, there's certain things you just have to do.
Yeah,
And by doing it and adjusting your attitude about it is going to make it so much better. And the whole idea that, yeah, we all, and I certainly like things done a certain way. Um, I'm a perfectionist for sure, but I have learned through the years, especially with my students, that if they're showing progress at whatever rate they're at, I need to be happy with that. Now, I still push them to improve, but as long as they're moving in the direction of improvement, I'm good. Some improve faster than others, and realizing that is important. So the first sub action to this is setting 90-day results that scare you just enough. So set something, uh, or 30 days. Set something in 1 month that you're going to do that's going to push you a little bit, and it could be uh, it, anything you want, and really making sure that it's going to push you a little bit, but at the same time, it's not going to be so far out. Like if you have a dream and your dream is only 30 days, it's only going to take you 30 days to get it. I'm going to hate to say it's not a dream. It's just an action step, right?
yeah,
If it's 3 years from now, it certainly can be a dream. So what we're talking about is just something that's just out of reach currently, but it's going to require some action on your part to make it happen.
yeah. I love that. Like just a quick 30-day thing that's a little too difficult for you,
Right.
in your head. right? Something that
Yep.
you can achieve if you do this stuff. But and then I think the second part of this is really about celebrating those process milestones, not just the
Hmm.
outcomes, because we all know, like with everything, with weight loss, with sales, with everything, those lead measures and those lag measures, right? The things you do don't necessarily always lead to that straight line result, right? Where it's like, oh, progress, progress, progress. It's about, did I show up? Did I
Hmm.
show up the 3 days a week I wanted to do this? Did I show up? Even better, did I show up on the days I didn't want to show up? Because that's really when
Right.
that's when it matters, right?
Right.
And one of the things I love about the dojo is like when a parent comes in, you want your kid to have better balance, respect, discipline, all the things. All you
Hmm.
have to do is bring them in 2 days a week. Like that is
Right.
we got it from there. But your
Yep.
entire job is bring them 2 days a week. It's
Right.
simplifying, right?
Yep.
Um, and then it gets more, but the people who struggle are the ones who say, "Oh, it was hard to do two. It was hard for me to do this."
Right.
It is hard. I don't want to get up and work out some days. Those are the days that matters, and those are the days you should celebrate. You should say, "Hey, look, I did it. I did the 3 things I wanted to do this week," and regardless of the result, if you have a result, that's awesome. Celebrate it. But if you didn't get that result, you still did the process, and
Hmm.
that's important.
Yep, for sure. And then the last part of this step is connect your daily work to someone beyond yourself. This is I do this quite often because it motivates me. Um, so if you're thinking of the things you need to do and you're like, I just don't feel like doing it today, well, who are you going to let down if you don't do it? You know, or I have to do this, I have to write this report. Well, who am I going to let down if the report is just so-so? For me is writing emails. You guys, the whole team gets two training emails a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, and you know how they are. They're training on different things. And for you, there's most of it you've heard before, but I try to spin it and bring it into a different spot. But there's a lot of new instructors on there that they need that. They need that motivation. They need that thing. So that's my motivation to not only make sure I do it, but also that I do it well. That I put time and focus into it, whether it's that or the class plans. And that connection isn't something I don't do it because I have to do it. I do it because I want to do it and I want to inspire people. So that's an example how you can connect your daily work to motivate you.
I love that. And I like the question that comes into this one, who benefits when I show up as my best self?
Yep.
Who benefits when I show up fully, as well as I can? Like who is the main benefactor of that? And then
Hmm.
really you're working to not let those people down. Like you said,
Right.
who drops off? Um, we get a ton out of those emails, so I think the fact that they come consistently and we look at them and we get that motivation and that inspiration from them, that means a lot. And, I don't think I've ever not gotten one, but if we
Yep.
didn't, it would, hit
Right.
that in a different way. So
Yep.
I think that's a really good example.
Yep. Love it. Okay. All right. So let's review. So step one, we're talking about aligning your daily life with your core identity. So this is going to take time. So even a step before this is making sure you know what your core identity is. So have you identified that? So if you're younger, sometimes you haven't done that yet. You're still trying to find yourself. But the sooner you can do that, the sooner you decide on it, the sooner it's going to help. So in here is you want to make sure you audit the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. You want to eliminate or renegotiate things that drain you in your daily life. And the last part of that is making sure that you're protecting any non-negotiable or that fuels you. So anything that does work for you, make sure you keep doing that and you don't let anything destroy that.
Absolutely. Step two is about designing your environment for sustained energy. So structuring your day around those natural energy peaks. We know when we peak, we know when we're low. Make sure
Hmm.
that you're doing your most important work during those peaks. And then replacing recovery time with those recovery habits. So instead of just flopping out at the end of the day, have those little pieces during the day where you're kind of rejuvenating, relaxing, and getting yourself back on track.
And then step three is pursue progress, not perfection. And we're talking about first part of that is set a 30-day result focus that's going to scare you, that's just out of reach, that's going to push you. The second one is celebrate process milestones. So not just the outcomes. So if the process is improving or you're moving the direction that you want to be, even if you're not there, make sure you celebrate to anchor it in to yourself, but also to your team or people you're working with. And the last one is, and this is a big one, is connect your daily work to someone else. So why are you doing this? Why are you working so hard? And that'll help your motivation, but also it makes you feel good. You know, when people say, wow, I really appreciate you really motivated me with this, that's going to give you more fuel to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, building a life that you don't need a break from is not impossible. It's actually pretty easy, but it does take work.
It does.
So what I encourage everybody to do if you're listening to this, pick one of those actions, whether it's one of the full action steps or one of the sub actions, something that resonated with you today, and put it into action for a week. Not forever, just try it for a week and see the results and let us know what happens. We love to hear from you guys. Reach out on the Facebook page, or email us and let us know how things are going. Thanks for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Hop over to our website at www.achieveresultsnow.com to get your free copy of our book, Ignite Results, 4 specific daily actions to help you achieve results now. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Achieve Results Now. Thanks for listening, commenting, and subscribing. Now get out there and achieve results now.